Look, every single leader wants a high-performing team, right? But let's be honest, building one feels harder than ever. So today, we are going to break down an incredibly powerful framework that really acts as a playbook for today's workplace. If you're ready to actually transform your team, let's dive in. Think about the business world today. It's like a perpetual storm out there, isn't it? Things can change in the blink of an eye. This quote just nails a critical truth. Your team is the one thing, the only thing, that determines whether you sink or swim. Building the right crew? It's not just a nice goal to have, it's a matter of survival. So, why is this so much harder now than it used to be? Well, it's because the old models of leadership, they're just not cutting it anymore. In the past, leaders focused almost entirely on skill. But what we've learned, often the hard way, is that skill without motivation is pretty much useless. We're now living in what you could call a capability commitment crisis, where managing both the skill and the will is the central challenge of leadership. And the stakes? Oh, they could not be higher. Research shows that a single disengaged employee, just one, can drag their team's performance down by as much as 54%. Think about that. That's not just one person having a bad day, it's like a virus that can infect your entire organization. This makes solving that engagement puzzle absolutely critical. So how in the world do we navigate this mess? Well, we need a map. And that's exactly what the Capability Commitment Matrix is. It's a tool, a leader's navigator's map, to help you truly understand who is on your team and what they need from you to perform at their best. Okay, so this matrix is built on two simple but incredibly powerful ideas. You've got the vertical axis, which is capability, that's the skill, right? The raw talent and knowledge to do the job. Then you've got the horizontal axis, which is commitment. That's the will, the drive, the motivation, the engagement. Every single person on your team fits somewhere on this grid. And here's what's fascinating. When you look at the data from thousands of teams, a clear pattern emerges. About 20% are your A players. They're high in both skill and will. Then you've got about 10% who are C players, low on both. And that huge 70% chunk in the middle, those are your B players, who are usually pretty strong in one area, but kind of weaker in the other. So now, let's decode each of these groups one by one. First, let's tackle the tough one. We're going to decode that bottom 10%, the C players. With this group, you have to have a rock-solid, non-negotiable process. Phase 1, document everything, the good, the bad, the missed deadlines. Phase 2, launch a 30-day performance improvement plan. This gives them one final, totally fair shot to turn things around. But phase 3, if nothing changes, you have to act decisively. You know, the collapse of Enron was fueled, in part, by a culture that tolerated C players. Keeping them around isn't compassionate, it's actually deeply unfair to the rest of your team who are picking up the slack. Okay, now for a much more exciting group. Let's look at the hidden gems. These are the folks with sky-high commitment, but maybe their capability isn't quite there yet. For this group, the strategy is one word: investment. First, you gotta assess the skill gap. Is it actually bridgeable? If it is, you launch an intensive development program. Pair them with mentors, get them into training, give them the tools they need. Then, you track their progress over 30, 60, and 90 days. You know, this isn't just theory. Southwest Airlines built their legendary company on a famous motto: hire for attitude, train for skill. They literally bet their business on people with high commitment. All right, now for a really tricky group, the talented but disengaged. These are your high-capability, low-commitment players. They can do the work, they just don't seem to want to. The plan here is a two-punch combo: recognition and challenge. First, you have to acknowledge their expertise. Let them know you see their talent. Then, you give them an audacious goal, a real challenge to reignite that fire. The perfect example, think of Steve Jobs returning to Apple. He found all these brilliant but totally demoralized engineers. He recognized their talent, and then he challenged them to build the iMac. It transformed them, and, well, it transformed the company. And finally, the superstars. Let's talk about the A players, that golden 20% with high skill and high will. Now, you might think, great, they're self-sufficient, I'll just leave them alone. And that would be the single biggest mistake you can make. You need a system for them. Continuously reward and recognize them. Strategically elevate them with new challenges before they even ask. Develop their leadership skills, and proactively work to keep them. I mean, look at Amazon. They systematically developed leaders like Andy Jassy, the guy who built AWS and eventually became CEO. They didn't just leave his growth to chance. Okay, understanding the framework is one thing, but now let's make it actionable. Let's talk about your 90-day plan to actually put this matrix to work on your team. Here's how you start right now. In week 1, I want you to honestly assess every single person on your team and plop them on this matrix. In week 2, you're going to create a specific action plan for each person based on their quadrant. By weeks 3 and 4, it's time to start executing. Launch those development programs, start those PIPs, have those conversations. And then on day 90, you evaluate the results. I promise you, by then, you should see a significant measurable improvement in your team's performance and morale. And this really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. This is about a mindset shift. Great leadership isn't just about managing people day to day. It's about being an architect, designing a system where everyone can either improve, contribute at their highest level, or be gracefully moved on, allowing the entire organization to thrive. So I'll leave you with this one question, this one challenge. Are you just managing your team day to day, or are you ready to start architecting it for greatness? Because the map is now in your hands.